What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I want to talk about some big news that just came out for the market that's very significant and what you should be watching for as time goes on, as we're seeing the market being very sandwiched right now by two big pieces of news. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So the market had some good news and also some not so good news. I want to talk about everything together before we break down these charts in more detail. SPY is still trying to hold 585, but we'll have to be watching to see if that holds. So this news came out right over here. Basically, Tesla stock has pumped 7% in the pre-market after a report has come out that Trump wants to relax US self-driving rules. And that's offsetting the news about the tax incentives that are shifting under his presidency, or that he's basically proposing. So what this means is there are some negative things that could come to the EV sector under his presidency, right? Because of the fact that they're going to be shifting the tax incentives. He did say that many times. However, simultaneously, what is bullish for Tesla, and the reason why Tesla loves this relationship between Musk and Trump, is because of the fact that this will also give Musk a say in regulations, and this could help them deregulate. Tesla is overseen by the NHTSA, and with Musk having a bigger voice in it, this could help them relax on policy and help develop FSD a lot faster. So that's some big news for Tesla. This is bullish news, as Trump is saying he wants to relax on these rules, and that is a great piece of news, at least for Tesla for now. However, at the same time, so we had good news for Tesla, but we have some bad news for Nvidia. Nvidia has dropped on reports that they have an overheating issue that could delay their new Blackwell AI servers. And this is important because of the fact that this will affect a lot of the ways that customers view their products, and it may even delay a lot of things. So, what's essentially happening is the new server rack combines about 72 Blackwell chips, creating a very powerful AI system. And with this overheating issue, there's going to be a possible delay, or the already delays could become even more delayed, unfortunately. So this is leading to some fears amongst customers. This is a big piece of news. One thing I want to say is that Nvidia has not officially confirmed this, nor have they responded about this yet. But every mainstream headline is saying that this is what's going on, and if that's the case, it's still going to be affecting the share price. That's why Nvidia is down a bit. As far as earnings goes, just know there's not really much coming out for today, but we have Walmart, Lowe's, Xpeng, and a few more on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, we have Neo and Nvidia, so just keep that in mind. For other factors, we have one Fed speaker, not to mention a couple of bill auctions at 11:30 a.m., so everything is quite minor. And then we have some news coming out. The market's still dipping amongst what Jerome Powell has said, and then all this news involving Nvidia and Tesla. So what do I see for the markets? Honestly, guys, I'm trying to be unbiased when I say this. Um, SPY did push to my 588 to 589 target already. It already pushed during the pre-market. So during the pre-market hours, the market did push a bit only to get a rejection. Now it's getting bought up a little bit. So it's very flat, like a pancake. It like pumped a little bit, dumped back down, got bought back up. So it's very flat. We're waiting to see what the big reaction is going to be. If SPY loses 585, we're looking for 583, then 580 is our potential target. If we manage to hold above 585, we could be looking for a retest of 589. I'm actually in the middle now because the news is very, very nuanced. I think that when we open, we're going to push just a little bit. We could get very close to the 587.5 area on SPY. Look for a small push and then see if we get a rejection or not. See if we could hold above 585 on a 4-hour basis. I think we're just going to be watching to see if this critical support holds. The market's very indecisive during this pre-market session, going back and forth and back and forth. So if that 585 area breaks, we're going to be looking for a bigger move down. We'll see if that ends up being the case. So make sure you just watch your levels for now. I'm going to be a little patient on this one. What's interesting about ES is that we did push upwards as I was predicting, but we came a little short of my 59.25 target. Then we rejected back down. Now we're getting bought back up. So we're just shuffling around 5,900. If we don't hold above 5,900, I see a risk of us coming closer to about 58.68 on ES. If we break and hold above 59.25, we're looking for essentially 59.40. We're stuck in the middle. We could try to push a bit upon open, but then we'll see if we get a rejection and move back down to these lower supports. So we'll see which way we end up going. So keep that level in mind. As far as Nvidia goes, just know that Nvidia is it dipped quite a bit to about the 138 support. Now it's getting bought back up to 140, so I do expect it to push a bit towards that 140 area. But then we'll see if Nvidia gets a rejection upon open, starts slowly dipping, because we do have this gap to fill all the way down here around 136. So look for a push and see if we get that rejection around the 140 area before it starts dipping lower. And there is a risk of that looking at the way Nvidia is structured. Bitcoin is very flat right now in the 90,000 area. We're stuck between 88 and 92,000, going back and forth and back and forth. We could dip lower towards 88,000, so give this some time, and we'll see how things end up shifting. For other factors out there, we also have NQ. NQ is rejecting right here. We're looking to see if the support holds at 20,500. If this holds, we could attempt to rebound for much higher levels like 20,800. If this fails us, we're going to be dipping back down towards 20,400. We're stuck in the middle. But I think that what's going to happen is NQ is going to attempt to push a bit upon open to about the 20,600 area. Then we're going to be watching to see if we can maintain that level or not. Because if we do push a bit and reject, we have to see if 20,527 holds. I think it's going to push a bit, then it's going to come back down and just consolidate. So we'll have to see if we bounce or not. Same thing with the QQQ. I do expect us to push closer to about the 500 area. We actually touched 500 then rejected so far. So look for a test of 500. We'll see if it rejects again or not. So it's a very tricky market this morning. If we end up rejecting, look for 495 to be our next target. If we hold above 500, we're looking for a pushback up towards 502. Look for a push for 500. We'll see what kind of reaction we get. So I'm going to be watching that very, very closely and very, very carefully. As far as Apple goes, Apple's holding support very nicely. If you guys look at this, we had this trend line drawn out previously. So Apple's going to be testing 226. We'll see if that breaks or not. If it does break, we have that gap to fill above around 227. So watch to see if that ends up being the case. For Netflix, we got to reclaim 819. Otherwise, it's at risk of coming closer to about 800 flat. Ever since that fight or that scripted fight or whatever you want to call it, it has been dipping. So just keep that in mind. IWM, it's trying to hold 228. Watch 226.75 to 228 as our main support zone. We'll see if we dip closer to 226 before it tries to bounce or if it just bounces here. I do believe it's going to bounce soon, but we're going to be watching to see if we continue this downtrend first beforehand. So it might actually dip a bit first before it tries to bounce. Coin is going to dip to 292. We'll see if it bounces off that or not. So look for a test of 292 potentially before it attempts to bounce. Amazon's going to be testing 204 up to see if we break past that to go up to 207. If we hit 204 and reject, there's a risk of us dipping back down to 200. So we'll have to see if we hold above 204. Meta is trying to hold. We're going to be watching this 550 support and 560 resistance. We could push close to 560 and we'll see if we get a rejection off that. So look for a little bit more upside and we'll see what the reaction happens to be. Microsoft is trying to hold the support, so we could be pushing closer to about this 417 to 420 area. So we might be looking for a bit of a push, and we'll see if we get a rejection or not. We'll look for some upside on Microsoft, very close to 417, and we'll see if it rejects or not. Google's trying to push right here. We're going to be looking for 175 as our target. We'll see if it rejects or not as well. So that being said, guys, that's what's happening to the markets. The market's indecisive. I do expect us to push a bit upon open, but there's no guarantee the move is going to last. We could push and then reject later on, so just keep that in mind as a warning. The market's sandwiched right now during the pre-market because of Nvda and Tesla, but we could attempt to push upon open. I think that's most likely what's going to happen, and then we'll see if we get a rejection or not later on. So keep that in mind, guys. Do not be overly greedy and do what you have to do. I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great day, and peace out.